in that test recording. Sorry.
Tig old bitties.
Imagine uppercut, but with penises instead of fists.
Hello, Jimjamatic here. Welcome to a brand new episode of Robot Wars Episode Reviews. We're on Series 5, Heat L, the last heat before the semi-finals and grand final. And it's actually a decent heat. You know what? It's very rare for me to say, coming from a person who doesn't really like Series 5 that much. I will say this heat was at least enjoyable, bar a certain robot. Joining me today is Anderson9132.
I'm here to smoke weed and fuck bitches.
Well, I'm glad you're here to do that, because I already done that in Amsterdam, so I don't need to do it anymore. And also joining me is TheDominusignis.
I'm here to smoke bitches and fuck weed.
Welcome once again.
Sean, it burns if you don't do it right, okay?
Just choose the right end, that's what I'm saying. But, yes, anyway, this is Heat L. Of course, this actually is the last heat before the semi-finals, and as I said before, it's actually a decent heat for a change. We actually have a decent amount of newcomers, well, 2, I say, but that's good for Series 5 when both the newcomers actually aren't the worst thing ever. In fact, some of the worst robots come from the robots that came back. Twister. Yeah, unfortunately we have to talk about Twister at some point again.
I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah, but of course we'll start with the heat winner, which was very lucky to get through the heat final after losing its weapon and one of its sort of little caster wheels, was PUSSYCAT. It was quite weird seeing PUSSYCAT just lose like its spinner that quickly.
It was quite weird seeing PUSSYCAT struggle so much, because obviously in Series 4 it was a very dominant force, and also in Extreme to an extent. I mean, it won the Annihilator pretty easily. It won quite a few battles pretty. I mean, okay, Tornado gave it a good bossing.
That's Tornado,
but then
though.
Seeing it in this heat, I mean, obviously Executioner gave it a really good fight, which was surprising. Clawhopper obviously just rolled over and died, but whatever.
It didn't die, it just sat there and got
beaten
up.
But, you know, it got his ass handed to it. And then, of course, Fluffy basically removed PUSSYCAT's claws. I mean, it was quite a surprise to see a robot that came second from the previous series, especially one that was so dominant in the previous series, have such a hard struggle to get through the heat. It was quite interesting.
Yeah, like, fair kudos to Executioner. I remember there was a point when PUSSYCAT's blade was spinning up, and I was thinking, okay, Executioner's going to be, going to get a nice little gash in it. No, Executioner just put its claw down, just stopped it, and it's like, oh, okay.
If it wasn't for PUSSYCAT having like some grip on the floor and Executioner not being not the best driven in the world, they actually could have just gone straight for the pit and gone in. But it shows you the difference in power between Series 4 and Series 5, because I've always truly believed that Series 5 was like the first of the modern series where things started getting a bit serious with some of the power. Like, I mean, PUSSYCAT in Series 4 really did it really have like a massively struggled battle apart from against Chaos 2?
I guess Dominator 2 gave it a bit of a going, but not really, no.
No, I mean, even robots like Razor and Hypnodisc, who you think would be able to beat it, well, especially Hypnodisc, that was an achievement in itself, getting that nose scope.
Oh, man, I'll always remember that, because that was fucking amazing.
If only someone did a video where he mentioned that moment. Ugh, yeah, if only.
Oh, God, yeah, exactly. Oh, a bit of a plug there straight away, wow.
Bigger than the plugs you saw in Amsterdam, hey, James? Anyway.
Hey, hi-oh. But, yeah, PUSSYCAT is, once again, this is actually, sadly, this is the last series where we get to see David Gribble in any capacity, because obviously Extreme aired first. So, yeah, after the semi-finals, this is the last time we'll get to see it, so...
Devastating.
It's such a shame, because, I mean, he really did at least show some kind of driving capability, because even, like, at first, when Executioner was having a good go at it, it still managed to pull back and get some good hits in, and actually... I do find it amazing that a robot like PUSSYCAT has had 2 pittings in its lifetime. Like, how does a robot like that push? It just...
I have to say, like, a design like PUSSYCAT, like... would be an extremely hard thing to make successful at like any point, classic, modern, like no matter what. So the fact that it was made to be such a force, mainly thanks to the driving, like that speaks volumes.
Yeah, it's a real shame that the saw never really got as much use in Series 5, unfortunately, just because of the improvement of quality. Because Series 4, that thing just ripped. ripped so much up. Like in Series 5, against the Executioner, it did some decent damage against Claude Hopper because it had an exposed chain. But against the Executioner, never really got like loads of big hits. It was all just little scratches. It was Matilda did most of the damage to it.
That's what that just shows you how much even just a 20-kilo weight gain could do back then. Because obviously back then the technology was good, but it wasn't as good as today, where you can get like really, really small compact electronics. So obviously they realised that the sport was starting to struggle because obviously robots were so light. What's the best way to do that? Give them 20 kilos extra to work with, and then they can get bigger components in their better armour. Of course, better armour means circular saws aren't as effective as they once were.
No.
It is it's fair play to Pussycat. It still managed to cause some damage. I mean, again, like, in a series where most saws were, let's be honest, just completely ruled as useless by this point, they were still able to cut into things, and that just shows you how deadly that blade could be and how far ahead of its time it was as far as circular saws go. Anyway,
I think partially also it's because of the way the circular saw was designed. Because it was that kind of like. It was like in segments. It wasn't just. They just didn't stay. Like in Series 3, for example, they just stuck like a standard saw blade on it, like most robots did.
And I will say this, right, actually, I think because of that, Rob Bettington is one of the most underrated roboteers because obviously he designed it, he built that blade. And again, for someone, because again, he was the same age as David Gribble at the time, so obviously, 16 he would have been when he built it. 15, 16. For someone of that age to have to create a weapon that is so good and has stood the test of time so well is actually quite surprising, to be fair. So again, very, very fair play to him if he's listening, which he probably isn't.
He also gets less. He also doesn't get the credit in terms of because also he sort of carried on Dave's legacy in Series 7 as well by driving Pussycat for him, which was
that was Stuart Barnwell.
Oh, was it Stuart? Oh, sorry,
that was Stuart Barnwell. It wasn't Robert, mate.
It wasn't Robert. Sorry, I'm terrible at remembering shit because it's Series 7. I don't remember Series 7 very well. I'm sorry. It's Series 6 and 7. That's the point where I start going. Oh, I don't even know who was in what heat anymore.
The problem, of course, with the series, with Pussycat in Series 7, is it was driven by a team from Redditch, Sam Elliott 64. So,
that's the reason why, obviously, yes, definitely.
He's going to kill me for that, but
no, I think you've given him way more worse things to kill you for than that.
I have.
Yeah. And then speaking of great robots, that in this case was more unreliable, great in a way, was Fluffy. One of the few newcomers to actually make it to a heat final in the series.
I can't call it a great robot because it broke down too often.
Yeah.
It goes from being a bit unlucky to just being seriously.
It's like Razor.
You're losing to Killer Carrot. Come on.
I think if I remember correctly, it's because of I can't remember what it is exactly, but how they powered the weapon, I've heard, is just generally unreliable. And it's for fuck's sake, this could be a brilliantly powerful spinner, but they never changed how it works.
And it was petrol driven.
Oof.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that locomotive, that way of that power system that's been outdated since Series 3.
Yeah, because in its heat final, it just died on its own almost. It just bumped into Pussycat when it was on the flame pit, and then after removing the entire weapon, and pretty much any chance Pussycat had of damaging it, and then just dying, is such an anticlimax. And also, its debut in the Extreme really wasn't much of it. Although it did get one of the best pittings ever via the arena floor flipper, which
yes,
that's still the greatest flip ever. Yeah, it's just, it was just so perfect. But yeah, the last thing about Fluffy, it's almost like early Razor, except it never actually got to Series 5 level.
No, which is a shame, but they never changed how it works, so I guess that's all. What can we expect, really?
Yeah, because it never really changed between Series 5 to 7, did it? It just kind of...
It was just still Fluffy.
Yeah, it never looked any different, really. It just the weapon was the same.
It's like if Hypnodisc, after being flipped over, they were just like, do you think we should change something here so that doesn't happen again?
Nah.
It's fine.
I think the way you can sum up Fluffy is perfect, right? Sorry, not perfect. The perfect way to sum up Fluffy, I should say, is unmade potential.
Indeed.
It had so much potential, and it never fucking did it. So.
Yeah, although this is probably the series where it probably had the biggest chance of succeeding. Because it actually got through 2 rounds in a row where it actually dominated. It pretty much one hit or two it KO'd the robots it was against, both of which were actually against very experienced competitors, and then they come against a third very experienced competitor. They almost win it, and then it just dies. Every other time, I think it got to like the first or second round, and that was really the most it got to. So, at least it made a heat final, which is it's good for a newcomer, but then not really improving the robot after that was kind of a bit of a detriment to it. Most certainly. I mean, imagine if it was like Disco Inferno from Series 7, although it's not as screwed over by Tough as Nails, but you know. It actually kind of reminds me of it in a way, actually, how in Series 4 it was kind of like Tota's like, ooh, we're powerful as Hypnodisc, and it just kind of died to Shadow of Napalm. I know.
That was so painful to watch. It's like...
one of the worst self-KOs ever. Definitely. But anyway, yeah, Fluffy, it's not the worst thing ever. It's not a bad robot either, really, to an extent. It's just they didn't improve the faults they had. It didn't feel like they felt like they thought if we just keep going out, eventually we'll get lucky, and it never did.
And now I know that you were just talking about Fluffy, but I feel like we need to go down somewhat, and we need to talk about the robot. Like, when I was watching it, all I thought about was Creepy the Bug-Eyed Monster.
Okay, yes, Claude Hopper.
Yes!
Claude Hopper. Now, I will admit, Claude Hopper is... I mean,
you're only defending it because I just compared it to Creepy.
No, I actually don't mind Claude Hopper to a degree. I think the reason why is because if you look at every other Walker that appeared in the main series, or even like in side events, you have Jim Struts, Miss Struts, Stomp, oh god, a Millennium Bug, Black Widow. Those robots were very slow and very kind of, well, I'm not saying Claude Hopper is fast. I mean, it's fast for a Walker. By Series 5, it was 2 miles an hour. Was like, you know, breaking the sound barrier for a Walker. There was no Anarchy yet.
No,
but it's
yeah, okay, to be fair, that it is a better Walker than anything that came before it.
And even then, if you think about it, it's relatively stable, and it doesn't have like all those legs that can be broken or ripped apart, like a Millennium Bug's side panels get flipped over, or when hit the disc just ripped into the wheels on Black Widow, or the legs on Black Widow, or even looking at Anorachnid and when every leg just snapped.
Plus, Claude Hopper.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Sorry. Plus, Claude Hopper did get a win over Twister, which just looked like it was built out of stock extenders.
Yes,
we don't mention that here.
Yes,
we don't
that is a good point. Claude Hopper is the first Walker to win a main series battle.
Can you call it a win?
Well, it got to, well.
I mean,
well,
what does the record book say, Anderson?
It does say win.
And also, did Twister come back? No.
I will say this, right, about Claude Hopper, is I love how it had some personality to it.
Oh yeah.
Again, like you said, because a lot of Walkers, because they all walked the same, you know, sort of thing. And meanwhile, Claude Hopper, it sort of like bounced around.
Yeah.
And that sort of gave it some personality. I have no fucking clue what the hell those side drums are supposed to be. I mean, that was just whatever. But overall, Claude Hopper, I mean, it was never going to do well.
No, of course
not. But the fact that they came back, they actually tried to improve the robot.
And it won a fight.
And it had personality. It won fair and square. And it outlasted Pussycat. I mean, fair play to them there.
It's a pretty... Oh god, Sean just put Berserk in the chat, and I know exactly what's coming up later. But Jesus, okay, but yeah, I do have a soft spot for Claude Hopper just for that, and also I don't know why, but I just love the way the legs move. It's unique because again, like you said, every other Walker moved the same. They were just legs and just sort of moved out of sync.
Apart from like that one, which I can't remember the name of it, we got like Smash or whatever, and it's just like. Fuck! Well, I'm gonna look up the Walkers now in Robot Wars.
Yeah, there's quite a few, but yeah, Claude Hopper just has that, and also I have to give a massive special mention to possibly one of my favourite Walkers ever from Techno Games, which came from this team, Clod Hopper, the giant shoe with Cobbler the rabbit,
with the bunny rabbit driving it.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Cobbler the rabbit. And it came third, I think. It came third. Yeah, it actually won a medal, which is amazing. And yeah, I just love it because you've got to admit, compared to a lot of Walkers, it's very controlled by the fact that it relatively goes in a straight line, and like some Walkers just sort of just goes side to side and moves. But also,
here we go, Stomp.
Stomp. Jesus,
mentioned that.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
I
think I mentioned it a while ago, but yeah, Stomp just didn't work. But it's sort of like the prototype Claude Hopper in a way, that kind of overarching robot. But yeah, also. It's just the fact that it actually had a unique turning system where it had that kind of wheel in the middle. which made it go 360 round really quickly without having to like arduously. Cause imagine this thing trying to do a full turn by itself. It'd be like the size of like a swimming pool, like 11. I think that's what 11's entire speed was. I think it was like 1 mile an hour in about the turning circle of a giant swimming pool.
Yeah.
But I give it credit. It's similar to how I think Leviathan had a very similar method in Series 2 with a wheel in the middle. We never got to see that as much. But it had the same idea. And I think for a walker like Clawed Hopper, it's much more effective than having any kind of other steering mechanism, really. So, I don't know. Again, Clawed Hopper's not the greatest robot ever, but it's the first walker robot to win a battle in the main series. One of the more competent walkers out there, obviously before Anarchy and Drillzilla as a shufflebot come in and just wipe that out of the arena.
And to be fair, there, like those ones did better because they took more advantage of the lax rules of the time.
Oh yeah, they took more advantage of that 200 kilogram weight limit. I mean, Jesus. But I like Clawed Hopper again. I don't know. Just think about it.
One robot you definitely don't like is Twister.
No, I don't like Twister, but we're saving that one. We're saving that one for later because I need to talk about a good robot. THURTZ.
I thought you were going to talk about a good robot.
Oh, here comes
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Shots fired.
I didn't realise the two people you're in a call with.
No, I was just THURTZ. Well, again, it's the first time we get to see THURTZ. Well, technically, we get to see it in the Arenas of Destruction, for some reason.
Because KHz, they didn't have the rights to use KHz.
Yes, they just used THURTZ.
Because BattleBots, fam.
Rather than just using a different robot, well, no, just put THURTZ in. It hasn't appeared yet. Shh. It's fine. It's fine. I love that's fine. You can't use THURTZ. You can't use KHz because of copyright. But just throw what has not even appeared yet, and go, yeah, okay. It was a good little preview of it because remember THURTZ being a bitch to fight in that game. But yeah, it's the first prototype THURTZ. Obviously, the axe is not as powerful as it was in Series 6, where it just clobbered things to death. In this one, it did have problems even like lifting sometimes because I remember like when it was against Ming, it didn't. It hit a few times and sometimes it would get stuck, and then not actually move. But
yeah,
compared to KHz,
there was one time in fact where Dead Metal grabbed a hold of the axe in that fight, and I was thinking this would be so much easier for you guys if you just lifted the axe and moved away. But for some reason they just kept like trying to pull the axe away.
I think it's something to do with the mechanism. Maybe it just wasn't perfected yet as much.
Yeah,
but
I think that's what it was. I mean, this is very much prototype THURTZ. This wasn't quite. They hadn't quite kicked it in the source yet, had they?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because compared to KHz, because KHz is one of those robots that I do enjoy, but it just for some reason they always seem to hype KHz up like it was going to be the greatest thing ever. And it never really. I mean, the first time the first time it ever got past a battle was in Series 4. So it just found it weird that it was like Razor, but almost like not as bad as Razor. I mean, Razor was hyped up to the point where it was like Jesus. But
I think the reason why is obviously because of their BattleBot success. But a lot of people seem to forget that obviously different robot combat competitions are different for a reason. The whole idea of BattleBots really because of all the arena hazards and because it's spectacle before anything else. I mean, for example, somehow John Reed won a Best Drivers Award. I will never know how in the hell he won that. But then I think to myself, well, actually, of course, because it's BattleBots and it's America, and all they care about is steroids and America sort of stuff.
And that.
And all that crap. You probably find all you have to do is just drive in a straight line really, really quickly and aggressively. Oh, yeah, he's the best driver in the world. Because America. Obviously these days, obviously in Robot Wars, obviously you need to drive a bit better. Because it's actually a criteria over here. Control, because we know it properly. Damn it!
I know that there's just been this big discussion, but ever since we started talking about THURTZ's axe issues, I was remembering how they had axe issues even in the reboot, and I was just thinking, THURTZ always has troubles with its shaft.
Way.
And I have
maybe if he lubed it up a little bit, it might.
I also have to.
That's exactly what John Reed tried doing in the reboot. He was just lubing it up.
I also
was the joke.
That was the joke. I have to make a special mention though to Series 7 where they did that weird thing where it obviously wasn't able to make it, but they did that staged thing where it was like, oh, we just missed it.
Or what you could do, is just put another robot in as a seed.
Yeah.
Not difficult. Also, why were there no freaking reserves in Series 7?
Well, there might have been. Maybe they just couldn't be arsed
Yeah.
bringing him in.
What's that? 5 minutes? On your mouth, right, mate. I've got a cup of tea here. See you later.
It's even more annoying by the fact that Kilohertz could have had this giant furry spinner to hit, and they didn't get a chance to. And it's just like these. They have Gyrobot and Jackson Wallop, these two little flies just bashing it. And I wanted to see Terrorets just come in and just whack Jackson Wallop on top of the spinner and just bend it.
To be fair, as far as that battle went, it was pretty fun just seeing Killer Cat get absolutely wrecked.
Oh no, it was fun, but it would be more fun if Terahertz was there. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Considering Series 6's performance, and obviously in the reboot how powerful that axe can be. I mean, it was a shame not to see it in Series 7. Really, I mean, the highest C to not come in is quite an achievement, really. That, but yeah, the Series 5 terahertz. I mean, it's definitely nowhere near the Series 6 powerful, but you could at least see where the massive improvement comes in from Kilohertz, because Kilohertz was very bulky. It was just this giant polycarb box where you could see everything, and it always had that weird car steering. And
just looked like a Game Boy Color cartridge.
Yeah, and half the time it would come out of control and just get stuck in forward drive. Somehow, most series it would do that. Like I don't know why it kept happening, but apart from Series 3, where it didn't really last very long. But well, at least they gave Chaos 2 a good go in the World Championship. That was a shining moment in Series 3. Although,
and they were the ones who technically KO'd Chaos 2 in the Annihilator as well.
Oh, I think everything just went at Chaos 2, and then they got the final blow and just got stuck in it. Because Kilohertz's axe had a very big tendency to getting stuck in things without actually being able to move anything. But it's just a good design. It just obviously needed that boost that Series 6 gave it, most certainly. Okay, we'll talk about Twister now.
God.
Get over and done with. Out of all the losers.
Okay, I'm going to say it now. Okay, if there was ever a meme that was so perfect, right? You know that Simpsons meme with the whole, that's a fine-looking insert name here, why doesn't mine look like that?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Right. you want a picture of, like, Groundhog and Firestorm together, so that's a great-looking upgrade. Why doesn't mine look like that? And then, of course,
yeah.
Twister. Because, holy fuck, right, these guys made a robot that nearly beat Hypnodisc in Series 3. Some argue it should have beat Hypnodisc in Series 3.
I personally would thought so.
Anderson, I just want to say, if you showed me a picture of Twister and a picture of Homer Simpson's barbecue, I would just say those were the same picture.
Because it's a hodgepodge of everything.
What the fuck was this thing?
I mean, the phrase... I think the phrase "Jack of all trades and master of none" is perfect for Twister.
Okay, I'm going to say it now, right? Juggernaut 3, or 2, whatever the fuck it's called, actually has an excuse because it was their first ever machine. And also these guys knew what they were doing!
And also in Juggernaut's defense, they actually had to really butcher the robot to get it under the weight limit and get it working. So they lost the flipper, they probably had to replace some of the motors.
Yeah,
it was a mess.
A quick weight downgrade is going to do that kind of thing, but Twister... What happened? Like, is there like a 3-hour documentary in the making that would explain what happened?
I mean, let's just go over the weaponry for a start. I mean, straight away you have that flipper, which never actually moved in the fight.
It didn't even close.
No, I'm actually starting to think it was a grabber. Or actually, even it might have been just part of the robot and not meant to move. It wouldn't surprise me.
It was also supposed to be a thwacker because it had the spikes on the side of it.
Had the spikes on the side, but what confuses me the most is that spinner. Right, this is what gets me about it. If it was just a face spinner at the back, I would just gone, oh, it's a bit like Rick, a bit useless, but it could have maybe done something if it hit something. No, this thing was inside a cage with a tiny little spinner on the outside.
Yeah.
Which was the spinner? Is it the tiny one or the big one? I don't know.
And with a name like Twister, you would almost expect it to have a big spinner.
You'd hope so. I mean, it had
surely its namesake.
Actually, it had a big
flipper and giving it an axe. Oh wait, hang on.
it had a big spinner, but it was inside a cage with a tiny spinner attached to it, so it was basically pointless.
I tell you what, right? That's like having two really big, powerful flywheels and using them to power a kinetic little fork thing. Oh wait, spam. What about that?
Yeah. Oh, actually, also the wheels. What's going on with the wheels? The weird, like, diagonal wheels on them.
No, I mean, what's wrong with just having two wheels that are big enough to run the robot to make the robot move upside down?
I don't know. Like, the thing is, right?
What's wrong with that?
The thing about Twister, right? If it didn't have that weird spinner at the back and it was just a standard flipper, I might have just given it maybe a little bit of a pass. But it's a mess.
Did the team members like step backwards and say to themselves, "What the fuck have we built here?"
Yeah. Simpsons meme we talked about before. It's like someone, like they gave someone the task of making it, and they said, "Oh, the English side ruined. Must read Braille instructions." dot dash diagonal dash. What the fuck is that? And just made a robot. That's what it sounds like. I know they're deaf, but whatever. Fuck it. This for the joke. Jesus, this thing.
Oh, man,
this robot's a joke. Lower than my joke. Bloody hell. It's
so awful.
It's awful. I'm just not going to talk about it anymore. That'll be easy. Let's talk about the Executioner instead, then. The robot that
the Sexecutioner, more.
The Sexecutioner. To its credit, it was actually the only New Blood robot to actually come out of Extreme into the main series.
Yeah, which is ironic considering it lasted the least amount of time.
Yeah, they didn't drive into the pit. They're the only ones that they put the least amount of effort as well in their battle, and they somehow still managed to get into the series. But to their credit, they grabbed hold of Pussycat very early on, and if they had a bit more power or Pussycat wasn't on the ground as much, could have got an early, very very early upset in a way. But it seemed to have a problem with driving. Like it just seemed to just drive all over the place without really actually going anywhere. It's weird. I don't know. Like I feel like it was the wheels are too close together or something. So it just seems to skid about all over the place without actually driving.
I think. Oh, sorry, go on.
Sorry, no, you go on.
Oh, I was just going to say. I think the issue is, obviously, because of how long the robot is and how far back the wheels are. It's hard because obviously when a robot spins on the spot, obviously a robot like that, its front wedge is going to do a really wide arc, which means it's hard to get that wedge really into place when it comes to get the crusher in. If the wheels were more central, obviously it would spin in a smaller arc, so it'd be able to get a whole robot a bit easier. I think that might have been a little reason why.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, the team also tried to compete into BattleBots, but didn't make it into the televised series with the robot No Mercy, which is basically the Execution but painted more silver. And
it looks sick.
I will admit, it actually looks way better than the Executioner. Like, I absolutely adore the Crusher design. That kind of very I guess Razor kilohertz-esque design on it. I love it. I mean, it does look a lot nicer. It looks very Americaned up and very kind of like all the kind of the exhausts on the back and everything. It just looks a lot. It kind of reminds me of the Series 3 Hardvark, except without a spinner on it.
The Executioner kind of reminds, like, it kind of to me looks like a classic series Andro without the Crusher being as exposed as it is, but also kind of looking like it could maybe do something. I don't know. When I was just watching, I was thinking if you painted that yellow, it would, and told me that the Androne team competed back in Series 5, I'd have probably believed you.
Yeah, and also the Series 7 version is confusing to me in a way. Because, like, for example, if it wasn't for the name, I would never guess it was the same people. But also the fact that the disc is about the same size as the robot, but they only stick like a tiny bit of it out. So it goes back to like series. It just harks back to something like Angel of Death or something like that, or like the original, or the series 2 version of Body Hand with a tiny little saw sticking out of it.
And it was petrol driven again.
People will not learn, will they? People will not learn, but. I mean, it's an alright design at least. Like compared to a lot of like first round losers, I will take the Execution over many of them. I mean,
yeah.
Jesus. The amount I've had to fucking review in this series. This is a godsend in comparison. Like at least it works. It has an okay crushing weapon. It actually has some kind of consistency to it. It's almost.
Oh my God. Sorry, James. I don't mean to interrupt you here, but I was on the Executioner's Wikipedia page, and I assumed like. Because I forgot Series 7 Executioner. When I saw the picture, and I've been seeing the picture for a while now because I've just been looking at some of the pages, I thought that was like, oh, the Executioner, like Series 2 or 3 or something. Oh, that's Series 7. Oh, God, I just noticed.
It's got that very classic check panel metal on it.
It looks... Oh, God, how did... No.
Also, I don't know why they stuck colanders on the wheels, but whatever.
Oh, is now I'm just sad.
I actually feel quite bad for the Executioner team because they've literally never won a fight.
No, like
in BattleBots they lost their only battle, and in Robot Wars lost all 3 of their battles.
Yeah,
oh,
such a shame. But wait, I mean, do you want me to make you feel even more sad? 101.
Oh, what?
Right.
Oh,
One like equals one prayer. Smash F for respect.
I mean, let's face it. 101 was obviously outdated by Series 5. That's not an understatement. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the
Yeah.
intro, they even said to it. Even Philippa was like saying this thing might not be as destructive as it used to be. Like, it was never destructive to begin with, really, but
Yeah.
it was more it's good driving.
It was effective, but it wasn't destructive.
No, it was a
There's
well-driven.
big difference.
It was a well-driven track robot, really. That actually, to its credit, never really had that many problems with its tracks, considering the amount of robots that had tracks like Mortis, that ends up like just breaking all the time. But then,
and it was surprisingly fast as well, like for what it was.
yeah, it was well controlled and well made. And then it goes against a robot that can just hit it one hit and kill it. And
but
then
this is how the hell did this not? How the hell did this go to the judges?
I don't know
Seriously.
how. I mean, I don't know why it
It
wasn't
was
considered.
dead
a
on
mo-
one side.
It was considered. It wasn't considered a mobile, which even surprises me. Like so much, how this thing was not considered mobile, because, like by the end of it, it's half its side has been ripped and like the armor's coming off, the forks bent, the track's just gone, and it's still gone to a judge's decision. Like, what was 101 going to do? Like, that's 5 minutes. That was 5 minutes, and the hit probably happened within the first 20 seconds. What else was going to happen after that? Like,
It's like Mortis versus Dominator 2. No, more. Sorry, Hypnotist versus Dominator 2. Why did I say Mortis? What a retard.
I don't know. It's kind of weird because I remember in Series 4 when suicidal tendencies got counted out because they were mobilized on one side.
Yeah, and that was without not being able to count robots out.
Yeah, and that was also that was true, and they still got eliminated because of that reason. 101 didn't even have a track, and it was still considered mobile. Maybe because those tiny little wheels gave it some motion. I don't know. But you gotta admit, for a robot that... I mean, I do have a soft spot for 101. It's not my favourite classic robot of all time, mainly because I think design-wise it's just very to the point, without really making it too extravagant. But it's a shame to go from a robot that was like able to stand up to Hypnodisc, well, a severely nerfed Hypnodisc by round 2 of the semi-finals, but still... and able to at least last the full time with Dominator 2, even though it was horribly outmatched, and then just go so quickly. I mean, in a way, though, it's a godsend, because it gave us Anarchy. So,
Yeah.
it showed Mike Franklin at least... unfortunately, some people have to learn the hard way that your robot's outdated.
Yeah, to be fair, it was quite fitting. It was almost like a Viking burial.
It really was. It's like Plunderbird 5.
Yeah, oh,
It's actually exactly the same as Plunderbird 5.
like if you cried first time.
Yeah, except,
I love how
unfortunately...
you brought those both up, and we're not only going to be getting a beta weight 101 this year, but there's also that mockumentary which I'm still waiting for from the Plunderbird team.
I cannot wait for that if that comes out. I mean, also the Beetle Weight 101 is going to be awesome. It's just going to be a little... I can't wait for it. It's
I
like...
can't wait.
I can't wait. But, I mean, I just can't believe by Series 5 the robot still had an autonomous CO2 spike.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that seems weird to me that they never really thought of coming a different weapon on it. It's just... Spike.
Yeah, especially with the 20 kilo upgrade, weight gain.
And I have to call again. I hate calling back to the title cards, but its strength is described as agile and violent. Are we looking at the same robot?
So.
I mean, Fluffy maybe, Pussycat maybe.
The thing is, in Robot Wars, I bloody hope it's violent.
Yeah, bloody hell! I mean, Jesus, hell, I'd even go as far as say, robots like TerraHurtz and Claude Hopper's more violent than 101. Way it moves. But yeah, I don't know. I love. I mean, I've called this a few. This is like the meme now of this Series 5, which is the terrible title cards they've given robots. But I mean, it's not the only series that does it, but it's the one that has the most in concentration. It seems.
I think it was Thermidor had as its weakness experienced competitors.
Yeah, that was like a weakness apparently.
What the fuck?
And they gave Destructor Bubbles in the last heat. Destructor Bubbles experience, and apparently its strength was experienced competitors. When they've been in one series,
One
fight and got axed by kilohertz loads of times. Yeah, they're really experienced and fell off a sumo ring. Yeah, good experience there. Anyway,
that's like when you've got like a CV that just says that you've had work experience in this field. It's like, no, you fucking haven't. You maybe walked into the same building once.
Yeah, that's as much of the experience you've got there. But yeah, RIP 101. Press F to respect. Oh god.
I can't lie, even though it wouldn't be any good, I would love to see like a 101 that's just like a solid billet of aluminium, no wedge, just so that when aftershock hits it, it goes flying through the air and just drops back down completely unscathed.
And also, I also have to point out, I think the reason why they also did terrible because they had a guy called Steve Bickle on the team. Just, it's that I don't know why the name made me laugh. It was like I think I said last time. It was also like that random guy on Big Brother in Series 3 who never appeared again called Waylon Twiston Davis. It's a great name. It's one of those names that just I don't know why. I think it was
level 2 in Series 7. 2 David McLachlans. That is amazing.
Oh no, there's Red Dragon with Tom Armstrong and Tom Armstrong. That was a good one. But anyway, sorry. 101 RIP. And finally, a robot that I think got severely screwed over was Ming 3.
Oh,
Jesus,
yes.
the one time Ming 3's Crusher actually does anything, and it gets booted in the arse by Matilda. the fuck. Like, I mean, fair. I mean, the fight was very kind of nonchalant in the beginning. Getting a few axe hits, they just drove around. As soon as they get a grab, hit for no fucking reason. Like,
Yeah.
someone said to me, "Oh, Ming 3 broke down." But no, they were moving. They were probably just trying to move them a bit. Like they were trying.
Mood swings, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't moving after Matilda here, and that was true.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ming 3. I mean, honestly, I still prefer Ming 2, design-wise, just because of that flipper.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It's the thing about Ming 3. It just looks like Ming 2, but they just stuck a claw on it at the last moment. Like it doesn't look very cohesive.
As Mark Cooper from the Morgue said in Extreme 1, it's nice to see that Razor's been well on top of Ming 2, isn't it?
It basically is. Like it just. I mean, and also those exposed wheels, which they never improved on.
Oh no!
I mean, look at Extreme 1, and then look at Series 6 against Supernova. It just never got better.
Especially considering they entered with Ming Dynasty in Series 7.
And Zorro.
Oh.
Which is the same fucking robot, but whatever. I mean, I think Ming Dynasty is worse, though, because of the drill weapon, whilst at least Zorro had a nice spinner, at least. Like, I mean, it was basically Son of Why, actually, but, you know, still. But, yeah, Ming 3, I don't even know what was going through the minds of the drivers driving Matilda. Like, attack it!
Bored.
Yeah, it's bored. Yeah, you're bored, but then that's what the refbot's there for, at least. The refbot's supposed to be there to come in first, and if Ming 3 was broken down, then you can hit it. Don't
Yes.
don't just go straight in and go, oh, well, it's dead now. I'll say, oh, go and carry it out, refbot. Yeah. I mean, honestly, just for that, I would just give him Ming 3 the win. Like, you know, sorry. If you could fix it,
I'll be honest as well, because to be fair, was Ming 3 winning the fight to that point?
I think it was very.
It was a surprisingly close fight.
Yeah, because Terrorhertz just got a few axe hits, and then they were just kind of driving around each other. That was basically most of it. And then actually Ming 3 does get a decent grab on them, not to like do any damage, but just to get a good grip on it. And just when the fight was getting interesting, that's when it happened. And like I feel like we missed out on an alright fight there, which I'm really annoyed at, because it was two decently experienced competitors as well against each other in the first round. And
neither of them had done anything in previous series because they were rubbish.
True.
It was nice.
It's true. He lost to the Morgue, but still.
God.
And Kilohertz lost to Cerberus after driving in the pit, but still, you know, at least Kilohertz had a few shining moments. You know, the pit, its gauntlet run. It going against Chaos 2, and also in the non-Northern Annihilator, actually had a few fun little goes. But yeah, Ming never really had any of this apart from flipping over Deator, which Firestorm did previously, so it wasn't much of an achievement. And also, that was the Deator that was so nerfed, it might as well not have existed. Where it just was broke, everything was just broken in it. But yeah, I don't know. Ming 3 just, I don't know. I just prefer Ming 2. I just do. I don't hate Ming 3. I just want Ming 2 back. Which I know will never happen because I just know what's happening in Series 6, and I know what happens especially in Series 7. So, yeah, this is the best it does. This is the best Ming 3 does, which is pretty sad if you really think about it. Yeah, so battle time. Woo! Yay! Oh.
Yay!
No. PUSSYCAT and Executioner was annoyingly. It was kind of annoying because at first the Executioner was actually doing something. It had a good grapple, and then it just decided not to attack Pussycat. It just kept running away from it.
I think it remembered who it was up against. It was like, fuck no.
It's like when you pull. It's like you shout at some guy in Road Rage. It turns out he's like a big wrestler. And you're like,
God.
oh god, roll the windows up, roll the windows up. No, not attacking them.
It's like at first you've got your SpongeBob anchor arms ready, and then they deflate, and it's like, oh no.
We're getting all the animation memes in today.
I just love how literally just having its claw blunted just completely screwed them over. It's like, really?
Well, that was just a great shot by Matilda, though.
I mean, you were winning the fight. One little tap, you lose your tip. That's it. You're done for.
Yeah, and it randomly stopped at one point. Then just came back to life. Like I
and then Pussycat just gently nudged it in the pit, like, see you later, lads. Cheers for coming.
Oh, my favourite part of the pitting was the fact that it was just hanging, like it was teetering on the edge, and then Pussycat, as about to push it, just turned the saw on, and then just tapped it. Like the saw was going to do some like extra hitting, or something. I don't know what they were. I think they were just doing it because they were bored.
I think that's what they were doing. I think they were trying to do like a little cheeky flick from the saw. Like the saw turns on and just taps it in. I mean, think that's what they were trying.
That's how bored David Gribble was. He was just. He's like, well, this is clearly our win. I'm just go ding. Into the pit, and yeah, the Executioner at least put up a fight compared to some other robots that went against Seeds. So that was something. Infamous Ming 3 getting destroyed. Just why? Again, I still don't really understand what the logic of that was.
It was an alright fight for. I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like, an out of this world classic that it will go down in history as one of the best battles of all time. But for the robots competing, in their respective guises at this point. It was all right. Both robots got some attacks in. They both had, they both tried to do something. It wasn't terrible.
No. And then, Matilda decided to just go, nope, you can't have a good fight. Bye.
So to bum Ming 3 thoroughly.
They bummed Ming 3 so bad they ruined its only good fight.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They bummed nuts out of the arena as well in Series 9.
That was still one of the best KOs ever.
Nuts came into contact with Matilda's bum.
Oh, you're full of.
I'm 25 in 2 months.
You're full of wit. Full of wit. That's what you are.
This is the kind
I'm made of tits as well.
This is the kind of quality content you come to expect from the Jimjamatic YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe,
please. If you're coming here for this, I don't want you as a subscriber.
And while you're at it, just go over to Anderson9132, check it out, subscribe.
Well, okay, then if you're expecting that kind of content, come to Anderson9132 and TheDominusignis. We've got all that kind of low tier shit.
Speaking of low.
Low tier.
Well, speaking of low tier, Claw Topper and Twister. Hey, this was a fight. Well,
again, did you really call it that?
No, because I was saying this to Anderson before we started, but I remember Twister doing a lot more for some reason. Like not like a lot more, but I remember at least like driving into Claw Topper a few times and then dying. No, it just drove her in a circle, then hit it and died. Like I swear it did more. This is how bad Twister was. I wanted because I'm so disappointed in what Twister from the team it came from that I was actually hoping it at least drove around for 3 more seconds. That's how low my expectations are. I mean, half the entertainments came from Claw Topper trying to quote unquote pit Twister, which is still one of the funniest moments. Like Jonathan Pierce saying, "Oh, Halley's Comet will arrive before Twister gets pitted." And it was a really slow... And Matilda had to help it out like twice, because it was not even going in the right direction.
That is one great thing about Jonathan Pierce, is that he is able to make even the dullest moments fun with his commentary.
Also, what was the Twister, like, wedge made of? When Dead Metal went into it, it looked like it was made out of, like, cobwebs. It just came, like, strung, like, little strings just kept flying off it. It's like some weird plastic or something. I don't know. It's just the whole robot's just crap. We've established this.
It was made out of the hopes and dreams of orphans.
R.I.P. And then of course 101 and Fluffy was just one hit dead. There's no one. I mean, what else happened?
It was a great power display. I
mean, Fluffy just flexed. all over with 101. And there's that really sad image on the wiki where 101's just like sagging because the track's fallen off and all like the front of it's been ripped open and it's just, aww.
Please just kill me.
Oh, there's a picture just of the track. It's like, okay, well, that's a great wiki picture there. Thank you, Toaster Ultimatum. Thank you. I love you, really. But yeah, it wasn't. I mean, again, can you call that a fight?
Not really.
No.
I mean, they came into contact. I'll give it that.
Well, so did Twister and Claude Hopper. But that wasn't really a fight again.
Yeah.
Well, that was the quickest we've gone for a first round because it's very, very basic.
They were like nothing. Like the thing is, just the first round. It was like all the fights were just done that quickly. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean one of the longest running fights where actually stuff happened was Claude Hopper against Pussycat. And I say stuff happening. It's like the only way I can describe this fight is, you know, when you have like a boss in a video game who's this giant like HP tank, and you just take bits off them over like you take a bit of like a leg or a cable off, and you like go to the next stage, you take a bit more off it, and eventually you get inside the center and you like beat up like the center, like the person controlling it or something. That's what this fight felt like, except it didn't get to that stage. Like Pussycat just came in, went came in again, oh look, your chain fell off. Oh, I've done something. Bit more, and then Claude Hopper spent most of the time just spinning around.
Yeah, Claude Hopper had spent the whole time charging up its mega attack that would have wiped all of Pussycat's HP, but it never got to that point.
No, the drum. At least they had. I mean, I love the fact the drums were like purposely made to like break these kind of robots' weapons, and it just fell off. I mean, the exposed motor and chain really doesn't help.
No.
No, I mean 5,000 RPM. I don't think I believe that from these things. I heard a phone. Oi.
Yes, someone tried ringing me. Then.
I'm sorry now. Sean is not available.
Oh God! I tried to mute the mic, but the mic wouldn't mute.
Is that a song lyric?
Oh.
I tried to mute the mic, but the mic wouldn't mute. It's like,
not only is it song lyrics, but it's the story of my life. Point.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy win for Pussycat, I'd say. Just a little bit. I mean, unless Pussycat just exploded, don't really see what Claude Hopper could have done to it in any capacity. Then another.
Well, to be honest, that would have been freaking amazing if it did just randomly explode.
Oh God, yeah, I'd love to see that. The closest we're gonna get to that is Spawn Again in Series 7. Random explosions. Terahertz and Fluffy was another relatively quick fight. Or at least Terahertz got a hit in this time compared to 101.
Suppose it waited for a good hit.
Yeah, waited for it. It did get a hit, but it didn't really do anything.
What the fuck was that anti-spinner device?
Oh, that weird floppy, spiky. I don't know what that was. I'm not joking. I think I skipped the pre-battle interview, so when I got to it, I was like, "What the fuck is that?" I forgot Terahertz had that on it. I mean, it worked. I mean, it worked as well as paper. But it still worked. And then
this was another really good dominance display though. Power display. That's what
oh God, yeah, that one hit on Terahertz. Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, in one hit, it took out a wheel, the CO2, and a side panel. That's one hit, and then the second hit, dead entirely.
In a word, shagged.
Yeah,
it just got absolutely bumholed.
I mean, I think it's the only robot aside from Hypnodisc to actually like rip like a battery out like that, or like a piece of electronics.
That had to hurt.
Oh God, it just looks painful as well.
You didn't get the joke. Oh man, that went right over your head.
I am very sorry. I've got to the point where I realise I'm not good at getting jokes, so I will just stay in my little bubble and cry.
Cry like the Claude Hopper team and Terahertz.
If a robot could bleed, Terahertz would be like gushing right now.
Oh no!
It would be. I mean, Jesus, it went straight for the jugular.
Cry like the Tombstone fans in BattleBot's latest series. Oh.
Cry like a lot of people did when they watched that Last Chance Rumble. Oh God!
The sadness.
Bombshell drinks your tears.
Oh God. And then there's the Heat Final, which is just a annoyance of a fight. An absolute annoyance because they had it in the bag and they just died. Absolutely, pretty much fucked Pussycat over. Like, they lost its spinner, they lost one of the stabilizers on it, and then it just died out of nowhere. Like, what killed it?
Itself.
But the
And
thing
the
is,
team's own lack of updating.
but the thing is, this is the first one, though. I mean,
Oh yeah, to be fair.
but at the same time, it was still moving after they took out Pussycat's blade, and they just drove towards the flame pit with Pussycat, and then they just died. That's what.
Maybe because of the petrol engine, maybe the flames sort of did some damage to it. Maybe.
Maybe in that case, wouldn't it like
think
set
of.
on fire or something?
Oh yeah, I suppose.
I mean, way more space. It'd be like technophobic, just on fire everywhere.
Maybe
That was
maybe it has the spider syndrome.
Oh,
It just hates fire.
oh, the spider. I forgot that was a thing. I think a lot of people forget.
Sorry
that's
to have reminded you of it.
I was hoping to forget that out of my memory, but it happened. Yeah, Fluffy got kind of shagged by itself, which is it's like all the karma from 101 Terahertz just came hit it back, and just took it out. There's a really cool epic shot on the wiki though of the saw going flying. It's just a blur. It's like this corkscrew blur of the saw going. Like there's not many frames where you can even see the saw. I don't know where it landed. You see a shot of the stabilizer, but no shot where the saw went. So it could just impaled in the ceiling. As far as we're concerned, because I don't know where it went. I mean, some say it's still going to this day. I have no idea. Although it's just as mysterious as I can't remember which heat or episode it was when Dead Metal's saw just fell off and went behind this arena. I can't remember which episode was that. I can't remember.
That was the minor meltdown. If I'm
Minor
right.
Meltdown, was it?
I believe so.
Yeah, I love that moment because the saw just like slots perfectly into the arena.
Yes.
Like even the one a saw fell off, I think because the metal was so boring, Dead Metal decided to spice it up by malfunctioning. But I mean, any comments on this fight apart from Fluffy being disappointing as fuck? No.
No.
We're very tired, as you can tell. So yeah, that was.
I mean, again, it was just really. It was a shame. It really was a shame. I mean, come on, man, Fluffy, yo.
Yeah, like I think we all like going in, like if we did, when we watched it for the first time, we all kind of expected it to be a bit more boom, like bombastic, but no, it just
Yeah.
it was just it was a bit of a letdown given what it could have been.
It wasn't more yay, it was more
Yeah.
at the very end of it. I prefer the short one.
I remember watching it when it first came out, and I remember my heart fell out my arse when I first saw, Pussycat's blade go flying off.
Okay.
And then,
my heart fell out my arse.
and then the
Anderson 2019.
there you go. And then I just shoved it back in my arse, and then Fluffy broke down, so it fell straight back out again, along with my intestines and everything else.
What a lovely image.
It's one of those things because it had potential to be one of the most fantastic upset victories, and it could have gone down as a moment in history.
It didn't.
And it's just one of those. Oh my god, this is amazing! And you're like, oh no, it looks like Fluffy's broken down. Huh? Oh,
Yeah.
Come on.
It's a massive shame, isn't it? But
It is.
what can you do?
Afterwards, in the post-battle interview, they didn't get really upset about it. They were, I mean, even Craig Jarvis was trying to sort of like get a reaction out of them.
Yeah.
And they were just like, yeah, well, it happened. Well done, lads. Good luck in the semi.
They had no comment really, did they? It was like,
I mean, they were uni students, so they're already high as a kite. But
what are you gonna do? I mean, some say I'm imagining you lot now, and everything is just a figment of my imagination. But apart from that, yeah.
Oh, James, we were never real.
Well, I saw this coming.
Could you imagine if, like, later in the week you look back on the recording and you're thinking, oh, this is an alright recording session, and it's just, why am I talking to myself?
Oh no, I just turned it on. I just hear like for about an hour,
And then by the end of it, it's like, what do you mean, kill them all? Sure, what are you saying?
Oh yes, take the knife. You say? Ooh.
getting slightly scared now.
Well, to be fair, I did have people in prisons in my basements. What do you expect? And I don't have a basement. Where the fuck do they go?
James, go for Anderson first.
Okay. Yes, master.
Please do.
Well, it's not as fun if you want it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we'll do our thought after all that random rambling. I guess our thoughts on Heat L overall. It was competent. I mean, at least the fights were very straightforward, but also they weren't boring. Like, at least most of them weren't boring. At least the actual parts were like it was straightforward, were like to the point. It wasn't just like, oh, it was straightforward because one drove in the pit by accident. All right, next.
Nice array of robots as well.
Except Twister.
Different styles. You know what I mean?
It's like it was a perfectly serviceable Heat. Like if I watched through Series 5 and this came on, I probably wouldn't complain. But if I was asked just to pick out any like Heat that I want, this probably wouldn't be one that I'd reach for. I'd probably reach out for something with some more exciting fights in.
That's why for me overall I'll probably give it a 6 out of 10. Like, it's not exciting enough to be like in the 7+ category, but at the same time, apart from Twister, there isn't anything offensive in this Heat. And also there was also some decent like shocks, like 101 and HURTZ getting their ass beaten, and Ming 3 getting screwed over, and Fluffy actually succeeding for once in its life. And Twister being Twister. So, and Clawtopper doing its thing. So I think overall 6 out of 10. It had some memorable moments, but again, nothing where the point where I'm like, if the fights were slightly better, like if 101 had lasted longer against Fluffy, or if, I don't know,
Twister had done something.
Yeah, Twister had done something, or hell, even like the Executioner is probably the one that put the best fight up out of the lot, I'd say. Compared to a lot of them, which is saying a lot because it's the Executioner that put up the best fight. But yeah, probably 6 out of 10, honestly. I mean, what do you think, Anson?
I'd probably go 6.5.
Ooh.
The only reason I've gone 6.5 is because I thought that I just think that because that Heat final is still pretty damn memorable. Like everyone still remembers it. Every time you mention a robot that could have gone so much further, everyone mentions Fluffy in Series 5 because of that Heat final. And I mean, I think there are a couple of underrated gems, really. I mean, I do think that, whilst it's not a classic fight, I do think that Clawhopper versus Pussycat was quite a fun battle because it was Pussycat trying to figure out what it could do to this big, bulky Walker, and this Walker just twaddling around, hoping for the best. And in the end, Pussycat pretty much gutted it and ripped out one of its drums, which is, pretty good damage. Again, like I said, Pussycat, considering it was sort of on the cusp of almost being outdated by this point, it wasn't quite there, but it was getting there. Obviously, for it to still be able to cause that kind of damage, I mean, it still made it. It's not like some robots that come back a following series and they're literally just like, nah, whatever. It still had the umph.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it'd be a 6 out of 10 for me as well. But if Twister had have won, 11 out of 10.
I like it. I love your bravery. And I guess with that is the end of the heats of Series 5. Next time is the first semi-final, which is an interesting set of semi-finals, considering the fact that this is the first one where they have the losers melee, as opposed to just straight knockout tournaments. So that makes it a little bit interesting.
I guess us three would be in that. Losers melee.
You are the losers, after all. No, I'm joking. Just Anderson.
I've come to accept that fact years ago. So
I mean, there's no point in really going through all the robots again because we've already. A lot of us discussed these before previously. Even a lot of these, even if they haven't been in the heats that they've been on, these robots have been talked to death previously. So I'll just mention them quickly just to get them over done with. We have Bigger Brother, the reigning champion Chaos 2, Razor, S3, Spawn Again, and Wild Thing, giving us some pretty cool fights, actually. Definitely a notable one is Chaos 2 and Wild Thing, which is also a really, really cool fight. And I actually even enjoyed the losers melee, and even Bigger Brother and Chaos 2. That was for the upset of it all, for Chaos 2 to lose its first ever main series fight since Series 3, which is pretty mental when you think about it. But
very, very, very strong, solid semi-final.
And just a spoiler, hands down, it's my favourite. This and the grand final tie as my favourite heats of Series 5. Just personally, they're very close to me. I think the reason why is because I love the fights overall and the quality of the robots is so high. Like I could see any of the. I think maybe apart from. I'm not sure. I could probably see maybe apart from Spawn Again because it's reliability. I could possibly have seen all of these in the grand final, maybe just if something had gone their way.
That's fair enough.
So I think that's what I like about it. Like, the other heat's good, but there are some that more stand out than others. While this one's very solid overall, and the 2 grand finalists deserve every single second of it. But yeah, that will be semi-final 1. Looking forward to that. I guess it's the end of the heats. Woo!
Yay!
Okay. So, in that case, I'm Jimjamatic, signing off.
I'm Anderson9132, the Robot Guru.
And I'm being held against my will. No, I'm just kidding. I'm TheDominusignis.
No, he actually is being held against his will.
Help!